Lucky week 7 in the NFL is here, and it's time to find out who are going to be the must plays for this key week in the world of the NFL. Of course, we're going to find out by looking at projections, comparing data from our friends over at Stochastic, looking at the ownership data as well, seeing how chalky guys like the debuting Rashee Rice are going to be today. He's speeding his way to a lot of ownership here. People almost got hurt in that one. I don't know if I should lead with a joke on that. We're also going to see how the other side of the aisle thinks, see what ETR data has, see what their cash game line would be, and the optimizer known as the solver. We'll try to run some sims on there. We'll run some sims on Stochastic. I'll try and do a hand build. And by the end of this video, one way or another, gosh darn it, you're going to know all the must plays for NFL Week 7. Let us get into it. Hope it is a good morning for you guys. Hope it was a good showdown for you as well. I do have an interesting tidbit about the showdown stuff I'm going to show you guys when we get to the Stochastic portion of the show, the sim portion of the show, rather. My former boss, still work with him, I guess, technically at Stochastic, CEO Tom Kennedy over there, took down the showdown, had a chop on first place where he won 111K. And he actually put on Twitter the way that he did it using the Stochastic sim. So I'll show you guys that in a little bit here. But look, Sims tools cooking, as we always talk about this portion of the year. Data does get stronger. Your ability to understand how to parse out that data does get stronger. So there's a lot that goes into the NFL this time of year where I think you're going to see a lot of the data players, a lot of the sim products, all that stuff start to come in with better results. And I think that's one of them right there. But shout out to all you guys hanging out here. Hope it was a good slate for you guys. It was awful for me. I did not have good lineups. I'll tell you what I really didn't have, though, was Pat Freiermuth. Much like a lot of you guys, I played some Darnell Washington. Much maybe not like you guys, played a lot of Jonnu Smith, which I mentioned on this video, on the Stochastic video. And I'll tell you what, did not see Pat Freiermuth with, what was 130 yards, 2 touchdowns on like 4 catches. Stupid. Shout out to the chat, though. Nate D stopped by to smash the like button for Spags. I appreciate that. And hope Big Bob, everybody's chasing me here. There's always somebody chasing me. Try and do a hand build. I'm aroused. Thank you for that. I'm always here giving you guys handies. GM last night, such an up and down DFS ride. And everybody a small owner's box contest. There you go. Playing on the smaller platforms definitely can be a way to make that work. And shout out our cards boy here. Let's go. Hope everyone has a profitable weekend. Same here. And look, no matter what, we're going to put our best foot forward. That's all we can ever do in gambling and DFS. We're going to do it again here. Let's check out the data here. We got Jaden Daniels, number 1. My boy, 24.9 fantasy points here, $6,900 salary. Not so nice. The fact that he's playing the Dallas Cowboys, though, is very nice. The total for this game as well, it's been at 28 all week. As of this morning, where are we at? As this morning, 27.8, 1-point favorite on the road are the Washington Commanders. The big weird thing right now, Terry McLaurin, the quad injury is still going on. Deebo Samuel's heel injury also not looking good. He hasn't practiced as of this morning. I'm not sure if he did or didn't. Haven't been able to catch up on stuff because I had some stuff to do this morning. But besides that, for right now, how it looks, there was some real uncertainty with the latest reports about either McLaurin or Deebo playing this week. So that's an important one because if we don't get these guys going, you're looking at Luke McCaffrey, you're looking at Jalen Lane, you're looking at Chris Moore, who we did hit on a little bit in the Monday night doubleheader. There's a lot of guys who Zach Ertz, I think, would be a very appealing option. But the main thing is that they're facing the Cowboys, who right there with Miami in terms of the worst secondaries in football. It seems like a nice stack to go to, and it could get nicer, I guess, in terms of there being more uncertainty, but some very cheap plays potentially if you do get McLaurin and Deebo out. If you get McLaurin out, by the way, fucking sucks, man, because this guy... I mean, they'll play Dallas again, week 17. That's certainly the spot for best ball you're hoping he hits. But like, this is a spot for McLaurin or Deebo. If they play, I mean, this is the ceiling. This is the apex. You're playing Dallas. It's wide open. You can do whatever you want out there. So your top target earners, in particular, Deebo is getting targeted 25% of the time he's running a route. McLaurin, not so much, only 18%, but still, 14 air yards per target. This is a spot where they should have production really, make you feel good about drafting them. So I really hope Deebo plays for my best ball portfolio, but also for the stacking. But if not, I think Luke McCaffrey is probably your number 1 option besides Zach Ertz. Number 2, Patrick Mahomes. We saw him go nuts last week. Do you think Mahomes will come along for the ride in a lot of Rashee Rice teams? Total this week, for KC, also looking pretty good. And Mahomes, like we talked about in the offseason, all the rumors, all the innuendos were that Mahomes is going to be pushing production a little bit more. Last year, my big thesis was that they kind of saw in the Super Bowl that, hey, we can't get by with just letting the defense do everything. And, frankly, the Chiefs defense is average across a lot of things, really not good versus the run. But they're not particularly great this year. It's making Mahomes have to throw more as well, and he is throwing it a good amount. 28.5 is the implied total for KC this week. Mahomes running 5.2 times a game. Things look good for Mahomes. Hard to critique him here, other than the fact that he projects about 2 fantasy points lower than Jayden Daniels. And I like the game environment more. But that said, Vegas, not a good defense either. Giving up 0.09 EPA per dropback, 0.1 EPA per pass. About a third of what the Cowboys give up, but it's still bad. And for Mahomes, has been crushing. I'm not going to critique you for playing Mahomes, especially if you are stacking him up. That's your way to decrease the ownership product from playing Rashee Rice. Luke McCaffrey could have a breakout game. He's actually been putting up points. Okay. I mean, look, I agree. McCaffrey, I think, has, for a player who really killed my fucking teams last year, the Jaden Stacks and best ball, I'm really came in with like an eye. I don't really want much McCaffrey. Visually, he's looked good. The target share has been pretty decent per route run. We'll see what he could do. Both are on the field this morning. Okay, so I would think Debo should play. Like, it feels like he's been having precautionary rest for the heel injury. But look, last week was not a good showing for him. A matchup I think he should have played better. I think the injuries impact him a little bit. If you're Washington, I don't think it'd be crazy to sit both guys, but it depends how they respond, I guess. All right, we got number 3, Caleb Williams, 22 fantasy point projection for him, playing New Orleans. A little bit of a weird narrative for this one, too, and like I can't play Spencer Rattler anymore. I really fucking can't. Spencer Rattler, though, at Oklahoma, was benched at one point for Caleb Williams, lost his job in a game, I believe against Texas, either Texas or Texas Tech, one of the two. Got benched in that game, ended up, Caleb got that job, looked great, transferred to USC with Lincoln Riley. Spencer Rattler had to leave, go to South Carolina. It's a thing that had Rattler's craw. There's an Athletic article about it. This game could get a little shootouty, could get a little personal between these two guys, which is not, I'm not Mr. Narrative or anything like that, but I know it's two defenses that are not particularly great. Chicago's rounding into form a little bit. We kind of saw that, though I really think they got lucky with some of the turnovers in that game versus Washington on Monday night. But, they're not a particularly good defense, giving up 0.16 EPA per dropback, 0.18 EPA per pass. New Orleans on their side, also pretty bad, 0.18 EPA per dropback, 0.21 EPA per pass. Whenever you see pretty high EPAs on both sides, for the drop back, for the pass, does tend to portend a potential shootout. And Chicago's total of 25.8, I'm pretty sure, is the highest they've had this year. Might be maybe second highest, but it's definitely as high as it's been for them. And New Orleans at 20.8, not a bad one for them. So Caleb in this game environment, he'll get overlooked for Jayden for Mahomes. I obviously will love Jayden. Again, I think Mahomes is a rock solid play. He's doing everything you want fantasy-wise. He's running more. He's efficient, even though it doesn't feel like it sometimes in game. Caleb, nice pivot, though, at substantially cheaper at 5,800. And again, big upside, a spot where both guys are going to push a little bit. And again, came off as real personal in the Athletic article that I was just not aware of, honestly. I remember that in the back of my brain a little bit, but to the extent where Rattler was like, his whole life was affected by losing his job to Caleb Williams. Yeah, it's one of those things. Justin Herbert, 6,400, playing Indianapolis. Another marquee game here. Does seem, though, like it should play a little bit more down in total. That said, for this one, Chargers as of 12:10 p.m. on the East Coast, 24.5 implied. Indianapolis 23.5, so lower total than usual for Indy. About where the Chargers have been week to week. They're getting Quentin Johnston back, though. Things get a little murky there. Last week, you had Ladd McConkey being the big winner from not having Quentin Johnston out there. I thought it would be kind of a net positive for both Keenan Allen and Ladd. Instead, they've put Ladd in position to succeed more. Ran Trey Harris out there a bunch. The reports are that they like his run blocking. Doesn't matter now, though, because Quentin Johnston's back in. He's been our lead alpha target earner for the team overall in the year, especially the high value targets. The spot for Herbert, same stack principles we've had before. Oronde Gadsden is also taking more of a role, but it's hard to say that that's might have been because they didn't have Quentin Johnston last week. I like Justin Herbert. I don't have an issue with him really, but he's not been a priority guy for me on many slates. On this one, where we have the target tree getting less consolidated, and also everybody's still priced pretty appropriately with Keenan Allen at 5,500, QJ at 5,900, Ladd now at 6K after his big week. Again, should be a competitive game. So, if you want to go stack crazy on the Chargers, that's fine. But Indianapolis' defense is pretty decent. Chargers' defense, pretty decent. Not the spot I would like to on paper quite as much as the other three we just talked about. And number 5, your top highest projected guys here, Jonathan Taylor at 21 fantasy point projection. We'll say just 0.04 shy of that. Jonathan Taylor, the workload's been as good as pretty much anybody in football. Again, should be a competitive game against a solid enough defense that should bode well for the running back. 5.5 red zone opportunities a game for Jonathan Taylor, 3.5 of which are inside the 10-yard line. He's also getting 23 intended touches overall per game, missing tackles at a very good for Jonathan Taylor, 23.5% clip. He's had all the juice. I would make the case it's either him and Bijan. They're the best running backs at football so far this year. certainly fantasy-wise as well. I think hard to argue that being the case. But for Jonathan Taylor, price a little bit high at 8,800. No McCaffrey on the slate, so he's going to be a player that certainly some ownership congregates around. It's a lot to pay for a guy when we have other players we want to pay for, especially if you are going to go all the way up at QB. Let's go through top values here. Top values, all QBs. Once again, you could see here the top 15 or so are all QBs. Then your overall top value is Mason Taylor. I'm not sure if these projections have Garrett Wilson out. Okay, they do. Garrett Wilson officially ruled out with that knee injury, which sucks because would have been nice to have him if the pass game is going to get more aggressive for the Jets, as all the reporting has seemed to indicate. That said, Mason Taylor, your only value up top here. Everything else, that's not a QB, rather. Everything else is a QB. So Caleb Williams, your top value at QB. We talked about him. Jaden Daniels, 24.9 projection. Your number 2 value at QB. Justin Fields, my other boy, your number 3 value at QB. I will say this week, team total's not going to make anybody feel too great about it. You guys don't have to die on this hill with me. That said, Jets 20 implied points, Carolina 21.3. Jets defense not very good. Carolina defense not very good versus the pass. All the talk about Justin Fields having to be more aggressive. It's going to be tougher without Garrett Wilson, but you have a $4,200 Josh Reynolds, who should be now your wide receiver 1. Mason Taylor, he could also be the wide receiver 1. He's been earning more targets than Josh Reynolds. But like these two guys, very easy stack with Justin Fields. I doubt Fields gets single stacked much, let alone double stacked. So I will be playing some Fields this week because this is really like, it's getting to rubber meeting the road time. And I just don't think you can play as badly versus Carolina as you did versus Denver. Denver, good defense. Carolina has been good at times. So like they shut down Atlanta once. I'll give them that. But better versus the run than they are the pass. I think it's Fields in play this week, so I'll be playing some at 5,700. He and Caleb, just nice little price point pivots. Spencer Rattler with that revenge in his heart for Caleb Williams. He's at 4,800. Still feels like at some point he should hit this year, but the fucker gave me like 13 points last week when Olave had a decent game. Like he had the weapons to have, in the situation, I think, to have a decent game. Still didn't get there. Hard to love Rattler, but at 4,800, he is in that price point where things can work out to stack with Olave, Shaheed, Juwan Johnson, whatever does hit. And Justin Herbert, number 5, we've talked about him, 21.1 projection, makes him your 5th best value. Mahomes not too far behind. Jacoby Brissett, who threw 320 passing yards last week. He's at 4,500 still, playing Green Bay. It's a tough matchup, but guys like Joe Flacco have hung in there against Green Bay. Maybe he can do it. There's some options this week. Better play Taylor or Mayer. I mean, it's value-wise, it looks like it's going to be Mason Taylor. Mayer's got a 9.9 projection. Mason Taylor, 10.5. Mason Taylor also cheaper. Yeah, I mean, it's Mason Taylor, but Mayer's not that far off. All right. That's the values here. Nothing really much to note overall. Breece Hall, not a bad value at running back as well. Just not having Garrett Wilson there. There's more yards to go around. Projections for the Jets should all be a little bit inflated because of just not having Garrett Wilson. Those guys been commanding like a 30% target per out run rate. He's not there, so Breece Hall looks better. Obviously, Braylon Allen being gone too. Anybody else to note? That's enough. All right, let's go to the ownership now. Let's see what we got on Stochastic here. Updated 2 hours ago. Shout out to all our guys watching. Chunk here, good afternoon. I hope all is well. I'm feeling less sick than the Monday video, so we're making progress there, but I appreciate it. It's my birthday on Monday, guys, this upcoming Monday. So I would really love to win $1 million this week. I think that'd be really, really cool. So guys, put the positive thoughts in the air, because really the one thing holding me back from winning a milli, at least 100K in the play action or something, is really just your positive vibes. So please, positive vibes in the air. Breece Hall, your number 1 chalk play of the week according to Stochastic, 6,300. Playing a Carolina team that, again, has defended the run pretty well. Negative .08 EPA per rush is actually one of the better marks in the league. They're giving up a decent target rate to running backs. 20% of the targets are being funneled to running backs, but actually pretty decent EPA there for the Carolina defense as well, negative .4. Breece Hall, the big thing is that the workload is going to be pretty heavy for him. So, think that for him, he's a solid play. I don't have an issue with him. I expect him to get a lot more work because of Garrett Wilson not being there. Breece Hall's getting targeted 29% of the time he's running a route with Garrett Wilson playing. Now we're taking Wilson out of the equation. Like, he should be your best targeter on the field, including Mason Taylor, including Josh Reynolds, including Arian Smith, Allen Lazard, whatever bullshit they trot out there. So I get it for Breece. I think he's an easy cash game play. For tournaments, I don't think the chalk is as strong as it's been in previous weeks. Have to say that. I hope you get a blowjob if you get a mill. Yeah, that's totally equivalent. Tell you what, I've had a lot more blowjobs than I've had millions of dollars have come my way. Happy early birthday. Mine's 10/23. We're different birth signs, Mike. So unfortunately, I don't respect you anymore. If you're not a Libra, but I appreciate it. Scorpio vibes though. So that's that. Positive vibes. Thank you. Dora turns 7 tomorrow. Congratulations. Happy birthday to her. Probably not playing it all this weekend. That sounds like a quitter's excuse, but good dadding all the same. But a happy birthday to the little consiglierita, which is not how we conjugate nouns in Italian, but I'll say it. But happy birthday to her. All right, Javonte Williams, 31%. I'm sure she'll be really happy to know the weirdo on YouTube that daddy sometimes watches yell. Is wishing her a happy birthday. Javonte Williams, 31% ownership. Nice matchup versus Washington. Last week, obviously, we did see the ability for Javonte Williams to hit a real precipitous floor. That said, matchup-wise here, going against Washington, they've been not good versus the run. Positive 0.03 EPA per rush given up. They are missing tackles at a pretty decent 13% clip as well. Washington's defense is just like, it wasn't that good last year. It's seemingly even worse this year, despite them spending some money there. Javonte's still getting 20 intended touches a game. Team totals 26.8 points. If Washington somehow fails, Javonte gets there. I personally think that he's a little bit better chalk than Breece Hall, but Dallas's offense getting CeeDee Lamb back, projection-wise, Javonte shouldn't look as good as Breece Hall. So I get it, but 30% plays both. Look like Breece Hall and Javonte Williams. And right away, your guess would be that a lot of tournament lineups this week will start with those two guys. Running back chalk has been better this year than, really any year I can recall to start a season. So if you start with Breece Hall and Javonte, just remember, don't play Jaden Daniels, Mahomes, Rashee Rice stack on top of that, because you're just walking into a dupe fest potentially. CeeDee Lamb at number 3, 31% expected ownership coming back from injury. I strongly believe that George Pickens craters this week. I think so much of his role has been because CeeDee Lamb wasn't there. Pickens also has had a lot of success playing out of the slot lately. That's going to entirely go away now with CeeDee Lamb gone. Certainly possible, I guess, that Lamb hits with Pickens, with Jake Ferguson, that double stack hits, and that's your way to decrease ownership. And I don't mind that with the ownership going to Javonte. So CeeDee Lamb, expensive at 7,500 relatively. 31% ownership, expensive on that front as well. But seems like a strong play that you can find maybe some ways to decrease the ownership product on for game stacking the Washington-Dallas game. And frankly, playing Javonte with CeeDee Lamb, chalky conceptually, but probably doesn't get played as much as it should for two of your chalkiest players of the week. Rashee Rice at number 4. So this is the one. This is why my face is I'll go full screen. Well, you can see it on the thumbnail, but this is why I've got the I don't know face. The cuck face maybe. I just don't know that you want to play a guy with this much ownership coming off, a 7-week suspension. I do think they'll feed him. I know the reports have been pretty adamant about that. But, we saw also Roman Wilson's going to get fed last night. And like he got fed relative to Roman Wilson. Doesn't mean that he got you, 10 targets. Doesn't mean Rashee Rice gets you 10 targets. And this is the healthiest that Kansas City has been the entire time. Like, they have Hollywood Brown now. They have Worthy in his most evolved form. They have Travis Kelce, a bloated corpse of what he used to be, but he's still out there getting targeted 20% of the time he's running her out. I think for Rashee Rice, I get why he's popular. I think he should be a cash game play. I don't think he's going to kill you. I don't think he's going to give you less than 13 to 15, but I'm not sure he gives you 20 plus. I don't think that's a lock, and I think that he's going to get overplayed, and receiver variance is always a thing on main slates that we're willing to move away from a little bit more, especially compared to RB variance, where the touches are sort of the touches for the most part for a lot of running backs to become chalk. So for CeeDee Lamb, cool with him. Rashee Rice is chalk. If you want to play 28%, I'm not going to be mad at you. You could do it, but I don't think he should be a lock button play. I think we want to see it a little bit in action and just get a read for how he's going to get used, because he's got legit guys around him now. Terry just ruled out, so there you go. So you're not going to get those points this week. That sucks. Hopefully Debo plays, because I think that makes that a little bit easier. But certainly if you get Debo out as well, it's got to be wheels up for McCaffrey, Chris Moore, Jalen Lane to a lesser extent. And certainly Zach Ertz. And Jaden Daniels, 24% ownership expected. My boy, I'm so proud of Jaden for his growth, I guess, in terms of his perception. Not proud of him for fumbling and turning the ball over a couple times last week that literally cost Washington the game. He took all accountability for it. More power to him. This is crazy ownership for a QB on a main slate. 24%. I don't think he'll be that highly owned practically because people just don't like to play QBs that are chalk that much. But I love Jaden. I'm sure I'll still find ways to try to get creative to try to do that. That said, this is brutal ownership. This is absolutely brutal QB ownership. I still think we have not seen the apex predator ceiling for Jaden that we can see on a slate where you don't have Josh Allen, where you don't have Lamar, you don't have Jalen Hurts, right? Or do you? No, you do have Jalen Hurts, but he just doesn't matter very much. Is that the case for that? He's not part of the process in a real way, projection-wise or data-wise. So I would say that for Jaden Daniels, he's your elite QB of the week. People will go there. I still think Mahomes gets played a good amount, and it seems like they've got him substantially lower here at 15%. If I had to guess, these guys are both like 15 to 20. I just don't think a QB can get to 25 on a made slate. I don't buy that. Dak ownership's going to creep up. I'd agree with that too. I think especially when you do like CD and Javonte here, I think people still want to play Pickens and try that shot. I think they'll play Ferguson some with CD Lamb as well. I agree. I think Dak's probably a little bit underrepresented here. Dak, they've got at 6%. Yeah, it feels low. That's a lot. Like, it's a lot of ownership right away. And frankly, just based on how DFS normally works, if you were just to fade, I don't know, that was a weird scroll. If you were just to fade Jaden and Mahomes ownership, I mean, that's right away 40% of the field, according to Stochastic. That's like a crazy amount you don't see very often. So wouldn't begrudge it. And we guys under 10% here. We got Pickens under 10, Mason Taylor, despite being a top value, under 10. Jalen Waddle against Cleveland, not a spot you want to be. Apparently, like 35 to 40 mile per hour winds. All you people who freak out about weather, this is one spot where you can probably freak out about the weather a little bit. The total is also moving not favorably for Cleveland, Miami, and the teams also are not very good on the offensive front. So Jalen Waddle being low, we get it this week. Quentin Johnson under 10. Ashton Genty, you're kind of lever against KC, maybe a unique correlation part with a concentrated role in that offense. He's under 10. You guys could look at the screen yourself. Drake May under 10, and a revenge spot versus Tennessee for Mike Vrabel, who frankly would love to put up 50 if he can. Rice says minimum 5 for 50. What does that get you in DFS? I mean, again, cash game, sure. 5 for 50 is not where you want to be if that's the 30% owned play. Rice hasn't played in over a year, coming off a major injury, lots of ways. Yeah, coming off a major injury, substantial life changes. The one thing I'll say is, like, I don't know what the anytime touchdown odds are for Rashee Rice. Let's go. I like using Gambly AI for this. Gambly.com if you want to use it, even though their site's way too similar sounding to probably, and it's, I don't know, should try to squeeze some money out of them. Anytime TD, Rashee Rice. Give me it fast. You got to be faster than me looking it up on Odds Shopper. Because if I had to guess, it's like, what, plus 180? Maybe even 200? No, Jesus. All right, never mind. It's not a lot. It's still plus money. But I think they get him a touchdown. Like, the Chiefs have had a weird victim complex about this. Like, Travis Kelce keeps saying fucking dumb shit like, oh, man, like, I hope he knows he's our boy and he didn't do anything wrong. He ran 125 miles per hour racing with his friends and, like, injured people pretty bad. At least injured, I think, at least one person pretty seriously. But, like, I think they get him a touchdown. So I wish these odds were a little bit better. Fucking touchdown. Anytime touchdown odds are just always juice to the gills. I think he scores a touchdown. I think 5 for 50 is reasonable. I don't think he gets you 20 plus for sure. And I think that's where things get a little bit weird when he's going to be played 30% plus of the time. All right, anyway, that's ownership for you. Let's go to ETR, see what they have for us here. Going back to the showdown from yesterday. Just revisit that trauma, why don't we? All right, let's go to default. We have to change 2 projections here so we can build a cash game lineup. But let's do that part now. We'll knock Jonathan Taylor to down 1 fraction of a decimal. Knock Achane down a fraction of a decimal. Now we're good to build a cash game. And guys, if you get any value of this video, please do show some love. Hit that like button, subscribe. Goes a long way for me here. Just one dude trying to fight the YouTube algorithm every day, all by myself. I got to fight millions of channels, but also your support does matter a lot here when you hit that like button. In particular, when we get above 100 likes, the videos get seen by more people. It's been a thing I'm tracking pretty closely. Trying to take this shit seriously because this is how I make all my money now. So please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you want to see me continue doing this work through NBA as well and the Splash Play Bets channel. That's coming up soon. Your guys' engagement, your support of the channel matters more than ever. And check out Stochastic. You guys saw their data. You get all their data, all their tools, 15% off. Promo code SPLASH or the link in the description will allow you to do that. And the Solver, same thing down there. No discount, but you do get to use the link in the description or the promo code SPLASH. And it does give you the Solver, which, hey, that's a cool product too. There's cool products out there. Your cash game lineup, according to ETR data, we got Jaden Daniels, Breece Hall, Josh Jacobs, Rashee Rice, Chris Olave, Deebo Samuel, Michael Mayer makes it, Trey McBride, double tight end, and Panthers D. So we're getting a stacked up Jaden with Deebo. Deebo in our chalk lineup, our cash game lineup kind of surprises me. Rashee Rice, not so much. ETR, perhaps a little bit lower on Javonte here. They're giving you Josh Jacobs instead. Josh Jacobs versus Jacoby Brissett, helmed Arizona team does feel like a pretty natural play, though I think Jacobs last week was so much more of a smash play than he is this week. On the road, tougher matchup. But that said, that's a pretty reasonable cash game build. I would just probably have, I mean, based on Stochastic, I would probably have Javonte, CeeDee Lamb in here instead of some of the other guys. Overall, across the top 25, ETR users should be getting a lot of Jaden Daniels, a lot of Breece Hall this week because they're in 100% of the top 25 lineups optimized with no variance, just straight projection math. So Jaden Daniels, Breece Hall going to be the first thing that people who use ETR's projections this week end up with. Rashee Rice, not too far off. He's at 96% of the top 25. Trey McBride, 88%. But Jaden and Breece Hall, right away, two guys that will be played a good amount. 64% of these top 25 lineups have Jaden and Deebo together. Another 8% have Jaden, Deebo, and Zach Ertz. So this thing that UE is saying here, every QB versus the Cowboys is smash, even the bad ones. So everything's JD will too. The data is giving that, so you're going to get that on both sides. Where casual players will go, Jaden Daniels, who just threw for 3 touchdowns and hasn't hit his running ceiling, he's going to smash here. He will, but you know, like you got the projections giving it to you. You got the regular logic giving it to you. Just the box score watching giving you the same play. That's what results in plays being a little bit too highly owned. Even though I love Jaden, I'm sure I will try to find ways to get creative and still play him. He is like real chalky. If he were a QB, I didn't have the priors for / think that he does everything as well as any QB in football in terms of the fantasy upside, the rushing, now the pass game getting there. I would fade Jaden, but because he's Jaden, I'm still going to play him like a fucking chalky idiot. Team stacks. 72% of these lineups have at least 2 commanders. It's a lot. It's a lot of natural stacking coming up. Again, I love Jaden. Think the world of him as a talent. At this point, though, it's a lot of commanders, and you're just walking into a chalk fest. Doesn't mean you can't beat out the chalk. We see it every week. You just got to get unique stuff around the best plays every week. But Jaden is so obviously the best play, according to everything, that he is going to be ungodly owned, it looks like. Of course, our usual here, we're not forcing stacks, but we are really pumping up correlation to try to get game stacks and stacks with our RBs if things align that way. So let's do that. We're going to put on our variance. We'll build 250 lineups here. And actually, let's use the unique function too, so we get a little bit more uniqueness in here. Let's do 4 uniques. This is going to be a different look here, but I just want to give a better read in the sim. It felt like yesterday, frankly, in general, with ETR, I feel like the sim is getting a little too concentrated in its results in the top ROI lineups. And for the sake of this video, I'd like to see a little bit more spread. Nice. Let's open this sim up. That's what we're going to try to do here. Travion Diggs said, out with a concussion. Okay. An accident in his home. Oh, that's tough. He's kind of overrated. So I don't know. But again, cornerbacks don't fucking matter. Jalen Ramsey, and Jalen Ramsey is certainly on at the latter stage or close to the latter stage, Darrelle Revis point of his career. But you see it with shutdown quarters yesterday, and granted, Jamar Chase, but he got his ass fucking cooked by Chase. And he made a few punch outs late and against T. Higgins in particular, and he's posturing. But it's shutdown quarters just don't fucking matter, man. I'll die on that hill forever. I used to think it mattered so much when I was starting out here. I would subscribe to PFF, look at the shadow report every week and all that. And it just doesn't matter. It gets fully baked into the defense. And then you have guys like Diggs where it's like, he's a shutdown corner. And he's always a guy where like he'd make the play for the big interception, but also would give up like an 80-yard touchdown just as frequently. Yeah, fully overrated. I agree. I mean, I'm not saying anything I don't think Chunk, but I just like shutdown corners in general are like, there's a few, but even then, it doesn't matter that much. If you want to get guys the ball, you can. You give them fucking 20 targets like Jamar Chase got yesterday. How do you think Debo being ruled out will affect JD if he's ruled out? I mean, it should increase the rushing a little bit. It should increase RB targets naturally, but they don't really have an RB. But really, the biggest effect it'll have is like it's going to make, I would think McCaffrey a little bit too highly projected. It'll make Zach Ertz a little bit too highly projected. Like too much of it's going to flow to those guys when there's probably a better chance of getting a better Krosky Merritt day, getting more of Jaden running. That's that. At least in terms of what I think will happen. I feel like if the game shoots out, Commanders is running in its normal peanut butter spread of points way. Yeah, Dallas needing to pass like crazy. I mean, it just depends who gets the lead. Like, if we get a situation like last game, like Jaden had to pass last game and parts of that, that's always better to see, but who knows? All right, what do we have tournament-wise here? They said a couple weeks ago they were going to start putting the Millie Maker, and hey, ETR did it. All right, let's build some sims here for the Millie Maker. That's a lot of lineups. Shout out ETR. Round of applause. Again, mentioned Tom Kennedy, Stochastic CEO, in the beginning of the video. He talked about how the Stochastic Optimizer works, or the Stochastic Simulator works, rather. Basically, for them, they put in the 50K sims this week for Showdown, or this year for Showdown. And I've mentioned on stream, I think that's the most important change that anybody in the industry made. For ETR now to give you full field sims for the tournaments that we're actually playing in, as opposed to me having to approximate for a mini max or whatever. That's huge. So both companies here, or at least the two companies that I think are the top, Saber Sim, not too far behind, Run the Sims, doing the best they can. Roto Grinders still exists, still profiting off of a lot of mediocrity. No respect to the people who are good there, because there are a lot, but point being, product's getting better. Happy to see it, man. That's bugged my ass so much that the solver has not had, or ETR has not had sims for like the actual tournaments. Even though sims are just about directional accuracy, I just want a big field. So I like this. All right. ETR comes through. Yeah, just time for my birthday. That's it. The ETR is like, we got to get this guy. This guy needs something else. He's fucking stalling out. Your top ROI lineup, according to ETR here, the sim with some more uniques on it as well. So we got some decent variants, hopefully. We got Patrick Mahomes, Quinshad Judkins, wind game. Cleveland has been willing to hammer Judkins in the ground, though it has been a little hit or miss, the volume lately. But Judkins, man, they have him for 25% ownership. All right, Judkins Pacheco here, your RBs. Not the RB room we were promised on this chalk slate. Justin Jefferson makes this lineup. Rashee Rice makes this lineup. Quentin Johnston, Mason Taylor, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, Patriots D. This is a much more different lineup than I would have thought. We're not getting much chalky here. Maybe the next one will be more like that, but you're getting all quality players, all guys who have real upside. You're fading some real stuff by playing Krosky Merritt and nothing else in that Commanders Dallas game. So interesting to see. The universe is listening. I hope so. I was crushing it in the first half yesterday. I was feeling so good. I did so many hand builds yesterday. And I'll tell you what, my hand builds did not include enough Jamar Chase captain and did not include a single fucking one of Pat Freiermuth captain. So that is where our hand builds can only carry us so far. Your number 2 ROI lineup, according to TR data, Jaden Daniels, a captain. Jonathan Taylor makes this one. Kamani Vidal, who did have the outlier week last week. Am I sold on him? Wasn't a bad showing. I mean, he still didn't miss a single tackle in the run game. Still didn't miss a single tackle in the pass game, but he did get himself to 5.5 red zone opportunities. That's pretty good work. And Indianapolis' defense, soft versus the run overall, 0.06 EPA per rush. Soft the red zone versus the run, 0.33. I worry Vidal is a little chasey because I think people who wanted to play him last year will go to him a little bit more in DFS this week because we saw him finally hit for a week. But ETR likes him here, so Kamani Vidal makes it. Keenan Allen makes this one. Again, the roll's getting squeezed a little bit lately, but certainly after a down week, going back to him, not crazy. Matthew Golden makes this one. I would have a hard time chasing that, especially if Watson gets in. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But Golden, big spike week last week, post-bye, rookie bump happened for him, so if you want to chase it, you can. Debo makes this one. Zach Ertz makes this one. Krosky Merritt makes this one. Panthers D makes it. No Cowboys, though. Number 3 lineup, we got Jaden, Saquon Barkley, Pacheco makes it again. Pacheco, man, really hard to trust. Chris Olave, like Kareem Hunt's role is better than Pacheco's, to be honest. And Rashard Smith always looms at a game with a decently high total. He can catch a touchdown at any point, even if he only plays like 5 snaps. Chris Olave, Deebo Samuel, CeeDee Lamb, Tyler Warren, Zach Ertz, Saints. I hate the Saquon and Pacheco parts of this. Everything else seems like a team I would play. So that's not bad. Could Vidal get more pass game work if trailing? He's getting targeted 20% of the time he runs a route, which is actually dead even with Ladd McConkey overall. Like he would get some more. I don't think Herbert is still a guy that's going to look downfield enough where he doesn't check down to the RB incessantly, but he would get a little bit more, yeah. I don't think enough that it would change the way I'm viewing him too much, but he's fine. Give you Hunt over Pacheco. I mean, yes, but also like, I think for a main slate, give me neither. Like, I kind of don't want to play either. I feel like there are showdown plays. I feel like there are other RBs we can hit on. That's my take on it. Jacoby Brissett, Breece Hall in the number 4 lineup here. Kamani Vidal, Rashee Rice, Stephon Diggs, Debo, Trey McBride. Marvin Harrison's been banged up all week. Yellow post-concussion jersey for him. I'm not sure where he is in the concussion protocol, if he's going to get out in time. But if not, Trey McBride being Jacoby Brissett's primary target would be great for him again after it was last week. Josh Jacobs makes it as a bring back here. Vikings D. I like going back to Stephon Diggs after the big Butte week. The big Butte week last week made things go a little bit wild for people's Drake May stacks. Going back to Diggs this week, I think is logical. But the Vikings part versus Hurts, yeah, it's a defense, I guess. Sure. Your number 5 lineup according to ETR, we got Herbert at QB, DeAndre Swift, Kamani Vidal stacked up with Herbert. Chris Olave makes it again. Bears defense is getting better, but certainly not so good that Olave can't have an outlier day if he finally gets everything to come together for him. Quentin Johnston here, CeeDee Lamb, Tyler Warren, Trey McBride. Dolphins D makes it versus Dylan Gabriel, who is dropping back more, but in a win game, he might get the full Mac Jones treatment. Who knows? Overall, highest ROI players are all guys that are barely being played. Troy Franklin, a very high 259% ROI for ETR, but only 1% exposure. Michael Wilson, 209% ROI with 1% exposure. Certainly if Trey McBride doesn't get there, Michael Wilson has a shot of doing it, but even Greg Dortch might have a better probability of doing it, honestly. Elite guy Umanor, Calvin Ridley with the hamstring thing might not go. We are seeing a changeover for Tennessee with Mike McCoy taking over for the fired Brian Callahan. Only 17.8 implied points for Tennessee, but New England's pass defense is not very good, as I've talked about all year. Give a 0.16 EPA per dropback, a 0.19 EPA per pass. Terrible downfield, as every Mike Vrabel defense usually is. Umanor has not been great, but he can give you at least a shot of what Calvin Ridley should be weekly, so sure. Hawkinson, 198% ROI with only 1% exposure, and Theo Johnson, 189% ROI with 1% exposure for him. Wandale not far behind. But really, the chalk here, not giving you great ROIs. CeeDee Lamb looks pretty good. Trey McBride, pretty good. But the rest of the chalk, a little bit lower down the ROI page. Let's go to Stochastic next. And before I do that real fast, I want to show you guys this tweet because I think this is an important one. And I'll try to keep this window open so we can reference it again when we get to the showdown videos next week. But here's, again, my old boss, Tom JK, a lovely guy who's always been kind to me in my career, obviously, since I started with Stochastic before they even had a company. But he hit here, 111K. And then down here, here's what he did for the showdown. 50K lineups, 15% to first to minimize sim variance. So I'm actually going to try to do that on the sim today. I normally sim at 35% to try to capture what the field structure actually looks like. But for today, let's just lower the prize to first and see if we can maybe get less shitty unique players in. 3 uniques for the first 100 lineups, 2 uniques for the next 50. So basically trying to take the best projected lineups with the most spread and then a little bit less. And then he nerfed the defenses as well, half a point, because they're very hard to project, especially for a single game. So just something to kind of, if you want to screen grab it or whatever you can, make a note for the showdown coming up. But good time to get in on Stochastic. Check out their data because really their guys been crushing. And I'm not saying that because I do content for them. You guys know I keep it as real as I possibly can be. They've had a couple Million Maker winners Tom winning here. Think it's a good time to get in and try to use the data. So let's build a stochastic sim now. Of course, Solver, link down below if you want to check out their product. Stochastic, check it out. Get a week now. Get the main slate. Get the next 2 showdown slates. I think it's a good time to do it. But all the data is 15% off. All the sim stuff, the expensive products, the cheap products are all 15% off the promo code SPLASH. So click that link down below. It does support the show as well. Half the money you pay to Stochastic comes back to me. It's a big way I'm able to do this show is the amount of money you guys generate from that. So please do that. Please do that. Jesus Christ. And also, check out the Discord, $5 to join. There is going to be a premium video today. It's just not a separate video. So I'm going to try and do this the way that you can do it on live, apparently. So I'm actually going to, let me try to enter the studio now, because I got to figure out how this works. But basically, there's a way now to turn your videos from like a non-paid video into a members-only video. So I'm going to try to do that here on stream, even though, boy, does it seem complicated. Now that I'm actually in the studio trying to figure it out. All right. It's a separate tab, guys. We're running a sim, but I got to figure out how to do this. All right, so where's my live studio? That's the big question we have here, guys. Where would be my live studio? Does anybody on YouTube know how I get into the live studio on YouTube's backend? Create, go live. All right, maybe it's in here. I know you guys can't see this, but you can see me trying to figure out how to make it work. Stream settings. I mean, to be clear, this is not an okay, I'm new at this thing. This is a new feature they just put in where you can now make it so it transitions immediately to it or whatever. Analytics. All right. Well, the sim is up, so now I'm going to have to wait. But I'm going to figure this out, guys, live on stream today. But premium video will be coming up after this where I'll go through all the game-by-game stuff. So stay tuned here. All right. We got number 1 R. Whoa. All right, well, the sim is giving me what I want. Justin Fields at number 1. Justin Fields, Javonte Williams, Quinshon Judkins. I don't really want that, but it's in here. CeeDee Lamb, Cortland Sutton makes it. Rashee Rice, Mason Taylor, Trey McBride, Broncos. Feels like a pretty chalk team. I don't think people will play Fields that much without Garrett Wilson. But Javonte in, Judkins in, Lamb in, Rashee Rice in, Mason Taylor in, Trey McBride in. Those are all pretty chalky plays. Just a unique single stack around it with Fields and Mason Taylor. Number 2, Caleb Williams, DeAndre Swift, double stack for Chicago. Breece Hall, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Pittman makes it after his disappointment. It's still tough to pin him down week to week, but if Josh Downs doesn't play, I guess that could help him out. Olamide Zaccheaus, Trey McBride, Javonte Williams, Broncos D. Number 3 is Caleb Williams, Quinshon Judkins, Breece Hall, Justin Jefferson, DJ Moore, Olamide Zaccheaus again. I guess really getting a projection bump from DJ Moore, potentially not being in, and I would say likely not being in. Tyler Warren in this lineup, Javonte Williams, the flex, Broncos D. Sim loving Broncos D. Your 5 top lineups all have Broncos D. Your number 4 lineup is Caleb Williams with DeAndre Swift, Quinshon Judkins, CeeDee Lamb, Chris Olave, Olamide Zaccheaus yet again. So Zaccheaus and Broncos D, your big sim winners that I would not have expected based off the ETR data. Trey McBride, Javonte Williams, and Broncos D rounds that lineup out. A Chicago double with a bring back. And number 5, Fields again. Oh boy. The data's telling me to play Fields. It's not my fault. Fields, Breece Hall, Quinshon Judkins, Justin Jefferson makes this one. Jalen Waddle, Chris Olave, Mason Taylor, DeAndre Swift, Broncos D. Man, that is not what I expected. All Caleb and Fields up top. Your top 10 lineups for Stochastic are all Jets and Chicago stacks. Overall, your highest ROI player is Olamide Zaccheaus. 10.7% ROI for him. $3,700 salary. He was not coming up as a top value in the data, but he does have a 9.4 projection at 3,700. So that makes him a comparable value to Kamani Vidal, Chikakonkwo. Nothing that crazy. But all right, Zaccheaus coming up a lot. Mason Taylor, 10% ROI for him. 3,400, not a big surprise here. Number 3 is Caleb Williams, 6.4%. Quinshon Judkins, 4.5%. Trey McBride, 1.8%. Breece Hall, 0% ROI. Those are your top ROI guys, and all of them that have a ROI that is not negative. Stochastic sims only use chalk or primarily use chalk to different variations, slams heavy exposures of all the chalk. I mean, that's not necessarily accurate, but sims are always going to give you back relatively what the projection is. Like picking more uniques per lineup is the way they do it. I know that's the way that Lofty does it. As Tom mentioned in that tweet that I just showed you guys, like putting more uniques in per lineup is the way that he's doing it. And for the showdown, I mean, you're talking about you only have 6 spots and he's using 3 uniques per, so half his lineup was unique, like per lineup. So I think for a main slate, if you're doing like 4 uniques per, it's going to give you more spread, and that's maybe one way to play it. But, you know, don't quote me on it, but if I had to guess, that's sort of the similar approach there to get you from getting it all chalk. That's just reflecting back, you know, projection data. Overall stack ROIs. The only single stack QB with a positive ROI is Caleb Williams. Justin Fields is in the negative, but he's number 2. Jaden Daniels at number 3. Herbert number 4. Mahomes number 5. So again, a slight reflection here of the projections mostly. QB double stacks here. Fields number 1, 19%. Fuck me. This is what I've literally been thinking about the last few days. I'm going to play Fields doubles and nobody's going to play it. But the sim is saying you should play it here. Fields 19% ROI for double stacks. Caleb Williams also has a positive ROI, 14% on doubles. As you can imagine with Olamide Zaccheaus coming up, that's probably part of why. Cam Ward doubles at number 3 is your 3rd highest ROI, but it is a negative 5%. Carson Wentz at number 4. Has he been confirmed the starter yet? Because they were being coy about that the last I saw. But Wentz, negative 6% ROI. Herbert, negative 6.2. Those are your top 5 double stack QBs. And triple stack QBs, Fields is the only one with the positive ROI, 8.3%. Caleb Williams, negative 1. Bo Nix, negative 7. Jaden, negative 12. Jalen Hurts, negative 12.3 are your top 5. This is a real big cosign for Fields I did not expect. Has to be the projection benefiting from no Garrett Wilson. You get more rushing perhaps for Fields. Breece Hall, you could stack up, and he does get a good amount of production from Fields. The double with Breece Hall and Mason Taylor is probably going to get played a good amount by stochastic users unless they, you know, rule it out of their lineups, but that's that. Nice to see stochastic guys winning, even the CEO. The CEO is probably the best player out of all of us. Anybody who does anything with stochastic, because he's made the most money. And when the company was founded, when I joined back in 2018, it was Tom, it was Alex, and it was Eddie Lai then, who was their tech lead, who's also a top DFS player, who had some good lineups in that tournament last night too. They were all like DFS players who had made, I don't want to misquote, but like millions would be my guess. Tom has actually personally crushed me in some tournaments. There's one late slate when I was in LA and like really needed some money. And it was an NBA late slate. And I had Frank Kaminsky, who was on the Hornets then, as my late slate play, and was like Frank Kaminsky away from first place. He beat me out that night with Marvin Williams, the exact same lineup I had, but had Marvin Williams, who was on the same Hornets team, beating out Kaminsky. He's very good at DFS, like very good. So I'm sure the Taylor KB guy at ETR is too, but they should play head-for-head for rolls. I think that's what they should do. Your top exposure players in the stochastic top 150 right now. Highest exposed guys, Javonte Williams. He's in 2/3 of these lineups right now. And again, this is with no uniques on. So just for, look here, pause here. Let's quickly scan through. So this is with no uniques. 67% exposure, Javonte. 66% Breece Hall. 63% Trey McBride. 60% Quinshon Judkins. 50% CeeDee Lamb. All right, now let's unselect these lineups. Let's put on 4 uniques, which might be a little bit too many, but that's whatever. It'll increase our spread. Now we're selecting the top 150. You can see here, everything goes down at least a little bit. Breece Hall still in 55%. Javonte in 55%. Trey McBride in 52%. Judkins in 50%. CeeDee Lamb in 47%. If you want to really get away from chalk, I guess, then you can go, let's go 5. We can see how that affects things. 5 uniques. You're not saying this is a way to play it, just kind of showing you guys that, Rich is their data guy, I believe, behind the scenes, was in that tweet. Haven't heard much from Alex lately. That's because I don't think he's been playing as much, but he had some entries in the tournament because he was up top at one point for, I think, some of the builds similar to what I had. Again, so we put in 5 uniques. The ownership comes down again for Javonte, Breece Hall, Quinshon Judkins, Trey McBride, CeeDee Lamb. These guys are all around 40 to 50% instead. That's really the way to try to do it. You also can, knock down the ROIs manually. But if you're confused by why a sim is giving you chalk, or, you just don't know how to get away from it, and you want to trust the data here, this is your way to still use the data, use the tool you're being given, but try to get more unique around it. So That's what I recommend. But I just show you guys the top 150 normally because I think that's still the most valuable part. But, your mileage may vary. Anyway, overall, top exposed guys with no uniques on. Javonte, Breece Hall, Trey McBride, Quinshon Judkins, CeeDee Lamb. Your highest leverage guys. Trey McBride, 40% more in the field. Quinshon Judkins, 39% more in the field. Javonte Williams, 35% more. Caleb Williams, 34% more. And Breece Hall, 33% more. This is also with a lower percentage to first, so that is going to give us even more chalk. If you increase this to like the highest levels, you'll get less chalk. So there are different levers to pull. I agree it should be more intuitive, but I will say the people that have used stochastic, at least I'm aware of, that have won the Millie Makers and stuff, they're all changing the underlying assumptions a little bit. So, just keep that in mind, I guess, if you are using the Sims products, is that ultimately, no matter what sim you're using, it's still going to give you back what your inputs are. So for ETR, it's going to put back whatever lineups I'm giving it through the optimizer. It's going to give me back whatever the ETR projections are. Stochastic's going to give me back their projections overlaid in the contest field they're generating. It can be confusing with Sims. Frankly, it's taken me a few years to get it, and even then, I'm still not getting the results I would like to, or I was getting a pre-Sim world. But that's hopefully helpful. If it isn't, I'm sorry. I try. Your most negative leverage plays in the stochastic top 150. Big fade on Jonathan Taylor, only 3% exposure. Fields at 21. Jaden Daniels, you're still getting 11%, but not nearly as much as the Fields 25. Josh Jacobs, 3%. Fields at 18. A big negative 15% stand by stochastic. And Devon Achane, after he hit last week, they are back off the train here at 8,100. Only 0.7% exposure. Fields at 13. All right, let's hand build here. Let's go over this stage of things. I don't know what this question is. If you're willing to say, but what's my biggest DFS win? My biggest one was 60K in NBA. Which is still the best. I've won 25 in NFL. I've had a lot of around 10K or a little bit less than that, but still have not hit six figures, and that's my dream. Well, my dream is 7, but 6 is still what I'd like to get to next, whether it's this year in best ball or in a DFS slate. Both would be nice. I think that'd be the dream. All right. And also in NBA, I had a month where I won 100K, and that was the best month of my life. That's what allowed me to afford moving out here. Would have also really been huge for if I had not had a child and had to move to the East Coast and buy a house. But we're neither here nor there. All right, let me build something I like. I'm going to build a little tasty Jaden Daniels lineup here. I still like the Justin Fields lineups, but let's see what we can do with a hand build with my boy Jaden. How do we get unique enough here? I don't really know. We're going to try it out. I'm going to go Debo. I'm going to go Ertz. So we're going a quintessential here, Washington double. Of course, this means lock Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt because I'm playing a Washington double and so's the entire field. But we got no McLaurin ruled out now officially. Debo still would worry me at his ownership. That heel, I think, is affecting him. But Dallas is so bad. I'm going to take the top pass catcher and Zach Ertz to see what we can do with it. RB. I mean, I know the sim likes Breece Hall. Even though I have some questions about him, we are still trying to just get a good ROI on this. So Breece Hall, come on down. Carolina backfield split doesn't make me feel great. I will say, and look, I have some priors on DeAndre Swift. I was not the biggest fan of him really leading into this year. Liked him a little bit the Philadelphia year, but even then I was still taking like Rashad Penny or whatever other assholes were in that room as well. For Swift, he looked like a man getting shot out of a cannon on Monday. I thought he looked so much better than at any point this year so far. Was surprised to see it. The matchup was a little bit soft. New Orleans defense, you make the case, is better than Washington's. But I don't hate DeAndre Swift this week. I'm not going to play him, but I don't hate him. I'm going to take the shot on Kamani Vidal to save some salary here. He is that $5,500 salary. Stochastic only has about 12.3% ownership, so we'll go with that. A weird week for these weekly drafts, I'm sure. I mean, frankly, that's why I stopped doing the Battle Royales as much. Well, I have other reasons too, which I'll reveal after the year ends. But yeah, it's the Battle Royales. A lot of it comes down to getting in unique stuff on Monday and Tuesday, and that's not the way I was drafting. So if that's not the way you draft, especially the dog bowl ones, that's part of the reason why people get smoked. More money equals more sex. Also says a lot about your sex. Sorry to hear that, but I'm sure that's true. Who needs money, right? We got who needs money or sex. Let's just turn into poor incels. That's the hope here on the channel. All right, what else at receiver? I mean, I think this is still going to be pretty chalky. Let's put CeeDee Lamb in. Where do we get unique? Somewhere, right? Let's play Josh Reynolds. Or should we play double tight end? And then we'll get more money to spend at receiver. Let's do that. Let's do double tight end with Mason Taylor. Put him in the flex. So we're getting two parts of the Jets offense, but not stacking Fields with it. And in fact, probably getting the Fields double, but without Fields. So I think that makes some game theory sense. What defense do I want the most this week? KC, really high total versus a guy in Geno who can be pretty volatile. But I don't know that we want to spend all the way up. I feel like one of the Cleveland or Miami defenses. I mean, Tua throwing into wind. It feels pretty volatile potentially. It's a Dolphins total. 17.3 against Miami. All right, yeah. Let's play Browns D. Gives us 7,400 left for our last spot at receiver. Oh, we could play a Pickens. Oh, this is it. We could do the full game stack. Or we could go back to Rome Odunze. Rome Odunze, pretty nice usage last week, even though the touchdowns, he got fucked on that one touchdown. Let's see how Pickens looks with it. So the team I built here is a Jaden double with two bringbacks of CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. So we're saying this game goes nuclear. Breece Hall, Kamani Vidal, Debo, Lamb, Pickens, Ertz, Mason Taylor, Browns. All right, well, 9.6% ROI. Javonte and flex instead of Taylor. All right. Gives us 4,100. I mean, Sim loves Zacchaeus, so we'll give them Zacchaeus. All right, so we 1v1 swapped Pickens and Mason Taylor for Zacchaeus and Javonte. Still got Browns D. Nothing else changed. All right, 39% ROI. So we could still get this. No, we're fine. Yeah, look, I mean, we're still playing Jaden Chalk. Vidal is not, to be clear, like not necessarily the best play in the world, but I think he's fine this week. I don't hate it. All right, now for the last stage of the journey, guys, I need to figure out how to make the stream turn into a premium stream. All right, insert ad. I could insert ads live. Should I insert an ad real fast? Here you go. I shouldn't have done that. Is the ad done? I hope the ad's done for you guys. Here, let's delay ads. All right, I'm going to delay ads now. How do I go to a premium video? And I will be back Sunday for the final takes video, guys. Turn YouTube video members only. Oh, it never started? Fuck me. That's bullshit. Turn video, okay. There's absolutely a way to do this, and I'm worried I'm going to do it incorrectly. They fucking said it, like they sent out an alert about how to do this because they're trying to get people to push communities more, community memberships more. And I'll tell you what, I got no fucking clue. All right, analytics, viewer activity. I didn't make a second event today, guys. So I got to figure out how to do this. So we could do the premium video. Enable DVR. Enable auto start. I wish I could share my screen with you guys on here. But I guess I don't want you guys to have access to my info, so never mind. Well, click the three dots. Participants. Oh yeah, hit the button on the left. Is that what we're saying? I appreciate all you guys bearing with me as I try to figure this out. I'm going to look on this screen. Oh, Mario DiMercato ruled out. Oh no. It's going to throw everything in flux for me this week. All right. Transition YouTube video to members only. Okay, live stream to members only. Okay, here. Look, okay. Here's it. I'm sharing the screen here. How to start a members only live stream. Go live. Pop-up box will, okay, hit the plus button. Now, where's the plus button? Oh, it's over here. Oh, members only live stream. All right, we're starting it in 1 minute. You got 1 minute to get in here. Fuck yeah, I did it, gang. 1 minute until I switch the, is it showing? Did I do it? Well, then I should get the plugs out. We're going to switch to a members only stream right now. So this is going to be the premium video. I think after the video ends, this then makes it so there's like 2 videos going at once. I'm hoping this is how it works out. Monday or Sunday rather, I'll be back at 9 a.m. for the final take. So if this end of the video didn't do it for you, you'll get another run here. We'll go through all the stacks, go through all the data again, run some sims again. We'll do the whole process again. Join the Discord as well, guys. It does go a long way when you join the Discord. Supports the show. You also get access to the premium video that's coming up on the channel in 20 seconds. So do that. Stochastic, 15% off. Promo code SPLASH, link down below. A Solver, promo code SPLASH, link down below. Do those. They support the show. And for the premium members, stay tuned here. The data video is coming up. Hopefully a seamless transition. If not, I don't know if this video breaks because of me doing this. I'm sorry, but I appreciate you guys. Enjoy your weekends. Good luck. And let's see how this